following year. And so as an accounting system...
Because, let me see if I get this straight. This money gets pulled out of your paycheck.
Yes.
They give you a window. They say, hey, listen, you know, Mike, if you don't want to be a member here, you don't want this money coming through, fine. But you have to come down to our office, fill out a form in front of us, give it to us, and then we'll stop pulling it. But we're only going to let you do that for a couple weeks, a year. If you miss that window of opportunity, or you find out new information after that window, that date closes, you found out that your education association was giving to a member of the neo-Nazi party, or worse, maybe Republicans, and that just drives you crazy, and you say, I don't want my money going there, and you go up to them and you say, I demand you stop taking money out of my paycheck. What's the answer?
I'm sorry, you've missed the window. You're going to have to watch for that next year, and then we can get that taken care of for you.
And so if you don't want to be a member anymore, you can stop being a member. You just can't stop paying.
Exactly.
Nice.
And the government, of course, is there acting to enforce this because the government has its hands in this whole transaction. That's what Amendment 49 breaks the cycle, breaks the government's role in this whole process, and allows the relationship between, in this case, the teachers union and the teacher to be personal.
And by the way, that's really between you and your union.
Absolutely.
I don't, you know, if you're a member of an organization or if you're not a member of an organization, that's fine. What I think we find objectionable is that government somehow gets involved, gets those checks out, and sends a check to your group. I mean, we've got tons of checks. Let me give an example here. Here's one from the Poudre Valley School District. Here are signatures here, I'm sure you can't see it, from school board members. These school board members run for election. They sign these checks. So they take money from you, they take time out of their day to sign these checks on our bank account along with all the data, give it to, in this case, the union. The union says, thank you very much. By the way, here's a check back to you as a campaign contribution, and we're going to lobby you. This is unethical. This is wrong. All right, we keep talking about unions a lot. This is obviously just an anti-union measure.
Well, that's what the opponents of Amendment 49 want to focus it on and to create an issue of labor, but it's not. It's a one ethical standard rule. While unions tend to be one of the bigger beneficiaries of this process, there are other groups as professional organizations, like in some school districts, the Colorado Association of School Executives. And some.
We've got a check here from was it?
I believe
Colorado Springs. So this check. This is a small check. It's only a couple $100s. And this is a check going to a political group called the Women's Network. Now this Women's Network can do whatever they want with it, and it's only a couple $100s. That's not much. But the fact is, this is not a union, but the money is being sent the exact same way. So people who work for the city of Colorado Springs can have their money taken directly out of their checks at government expense, pulled out, and delivered to, whether it's the Women's Network, whether it's the Hispanic Firefighters Association, the Black Police Officers Association, the Administrators Network, any group that are not unions, but still can get this money. I'm wondering, I'll bring it over here. If instead of giving money to these groups, let's say these groups were a bit more controversial, what if we were giving money directly to the GOP or directly to the NRA or to the ACLU or to the KKK for that matter? All these groups do the same goal basically, which is to affect political change. I think we'd understand that's not the job of government.
Well, certainly it's not the job of government, and I think, ironically enough, that to some degree that's exactly what happens. You give that money to the union from the school district, and like you said, immediately it gets turned around into campaign donations, and it gets turned around. There are three main functions of a union. One of them is to negotiate on behalf of its members. It seems like
but you're negotiating with the same guys that just handed you a check for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah, that's there. Okay, there's that too. And then there's the lobbying activities that take place down at the State House, where they're, lobbying with people who they've already turned around and given campaign donations to. And then there's the political action committees, which they do. Nobody knows exactly how that money gets distributed out. That $230,000 for that 1 month, nobody knows if $80,000 of that went to the negotiating team, if $70,000 of it went to the PAC, and the remainder went to the team that worked down at the State House. Nobody knows. But the point is, as me, there's no reason that I should be comfortable, and I'm certainly not comfortable with the idea that the government is taking money out of my check, which is immediately going through one tiny middleman who does no who makes no effort to hide their bias and puts it into into political action committees that support causes and candidates that I don't support.
You were talking about that. Let's talk about your school district. You work for Jeffco. Last year, Jeffco, we have the numbers here, passed through from employees and your other folks through the government to different organizations, almost $2.7 million directly to the teachers union. $155,000 to the Administrators Association, not a union. $463,000 to the Classified School Employee Association, over $5,000 to the Colorado Association of School Executives, again, not a union. What's the matter? Can't you people write your own checks?
I can, and I think most teachers do, because we all pay our mortgages. We all pay card payments, and those all happen through simple transactions at our bank, where if we want it to happen and not be burdened by writing out the check every month, we call our bank and say, hey, can we do this, set this up? They bring blank check. It's all taken care of, and it's a very simple process, and there's no reason that it has to go through a government middleman to get to the union. If the union's doing its job and representing its people properly, there shouldn't be any problem at all getting teachers to say, hey, can you go down to your bank and put in this automatic deduction and we'll get it all taken care of.
Problem with a good government measure, and when the Rocky Mountain News and the Denver Post both endorsed Amendment 49, they called it a good government measure, an ethical measure, because this has to do with ethics. And at the point of when we're recording this, we haven't had a single newspaper come out and say this is a bad idea, vote no against it. We've even had, diverse papers from the Colorado Springs Gazette to the Boulder Daily Camera have said this is a good idea. Government shouldn't be running money to organizations that do politics. But they're going to have a lot of money. I mean, they've got millions of dollars. We don't have any. We don't have any. They got millions of dollars. I'm seeing the ads now. A lot of them have kind of this vibe to it. Here's a police officer, a cop. Jeff Shaw, it says he's with Commerce City, but actually I think he's with Denver Police Department.
Denver
Sheriff's Office. And it says, I can see the real danger coming. They lump us in with some other issues that have nothing to do with what we're doing. And they say that he's not going to be able to get his bulletproof vest. He won't be able to do his job. He won't be able to have his voice. Let's talk about this one first and go on to some of the ads.
Sure.
Who is this guy?
Jeff Shaw, he's a deputy sheriff who works for the Denver Sheriff's Department. He's actually one of the lead negotiators for the police union that negotiates with the Denver Sheriff's Department. And I happen to have a copy of the collective bargaining agreement between the city and county of Denver and the Fraternal Order of Police, which Jeff Shaw represents. And we took a look through this rather lengthy document. And
now remember, it's safety. If we pass this, he will not get bulletproof vests. That's the implication here. We're not supporting our sheriffs and our good public servants if we say you can't use government to funnel money.
It's interesting in that I never point out exactly what Amendment 49 does in the first place to explain how ending this government middleman relationship somehow affects bulletproof vests and safety. But in this bargaining agreement that Mr. Shaw helped negotiate, there's no reference to issues of safety or bulletproof vests or anything of the sort.
There's no mention of safety. There's no mention of bulletproof vests.
None.
Zero. So when they say we need this to have our voice so that we can have these things, it's not in the contract.
It's not anywhere in the union contract. So it kind of assumes that on the part of taxpayers and the people, the citizens of Denver or whatever city, aren't concerned about their law enforcement being safe, and that without money coming through the government payroll system, that somehow this isn't going to happen. Very strange.
No mention of bulletproof vests or safety in the union contract. Any other words that pop up?
The typical things that unions are good at negotiating, and that's pay, payroll, salary issues, sick leave, vacation time, overtime pay, and those sort of things.
How many times was that mentioned?
Between pay, vacation, and overtime issues, 164 mentions of those topics.
But
so
no mentions of safety or.
Right.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, I'm wondering if they're shooting straight here. Now, one of the arguments that we keep hearing, and the ads are going to be everywhere, absolutely everywhere, are that we're taking away your voice. That you have the right to collectively work with your colleagues to have your voice heard, and this amendment, if passed, will silence you. In several debates I've had, the people from Protect Colorado Future say